Hi everybody, I'm Nick Bernstein. I'm a technical instructor with Fastlane. I teach a lot of our NetApp classes as well as SUSE Enterprise Linux. I've taught other stuff in the past and I've got a whole bunch of certifications and accolades, but I won't go into those because that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to go over some of the equipment that we use in our online training. So the first thing is the camera, which you guys are using to look at me right now. The camera that I'm using is a Blackmagic cinema camera. It's only 1080, but for online training, that's actually good. We don't want to take up a huge amount of bandwidth, but it's a professional quality camera. What that means is that it's something that I can run all day. And with online trainings lasting, a full workday, having a camera that I can leave on all day, give me a professional quality picture, but also, not burn out, is definitely a nice thing. It's probably overkill. Honestly, for most of my training, I do some videos during the introductions and I jump over to diagramming and lecturing and WebEx from that point forward. The next piece that we certainly going to be using throughout the whole class is the microphone. This is a professional XLR cardioid condenser microphone. So XLR means it's not a USB microphone. It's a professional kind of hookup. And if you guys are musicians, I'm sure you'll be familiar with what I'm talking about. And the condenser microphones are very sensitive. They're very high quality. And cardioid means the pattern of the sound that it picks up. So it's not omnidirectional. It doesn't pick up sound everywhere. What it does is it picks up sound from a particular direction. That direction is pointed at me. It's not pointed towards the window or somewhere else off camera where maybe a garbage truck might be driving by or some other kind of noise that would ordinarily be picked up by a lower quality microphone. This helps filter some of that. Also, it's just good quality. So when you're listening to this, imagine yourself in class listening for 8 hours because we do have all day classes. So having a really good audio signal is incredibly important for us. The next piece is what you guys can see right here. This is a Qualcomm Cintiq 27 QHD pen display. So you can see that I'm actually holding a pen here. Now this is for diagramming directly on screen. And this is an incredibly powerful tool and one that I really love for doing online training. It makes it significantly easier for me to get things across. So if I go ahead and switch over and share out my screen, which you guys will see hopefully now. This is just a really quick example. I've got, the Edge browser up here, which is probably not the browser that you use day to day. The Edge browser is sort of a newer version of Internet Explorer and, not the world's most popular browser. But the interesting thing about this particular browser is you can diagram directly on it. So just as an example, if I was to go ahead and pull up our Fastlane website here and say, hey, just so you know, we do training from a number of different vendors like Microsoft, AWS, NetApp, and SUSE. That's great. And you can look at it, but you'd have to go read through this whole thing. Whereas I can quickly jump in here and say AWS, we've got Microsoft, NetApp, and SUSE. And we can just go ahead and point to things and I can go ahead and do diagrams directly on it, which is a really, really useful tool. So that's great. The next piece that I have sort of behind the Edge browser is this little program over here, which is Autodesk Sketchbook Pro. Now, I'll do a lot of my diagramming in WebEx, and for quick things, it's great. But this is a more professional drawing program. It's going to have the ability to go ahead and have multiple different layers, so I can go ahead and, scribble something out and then put it back to the way that it was so I can do a different version of the diagram. All sorts of really cool things with this. And this definitely helps to get things like ideas across when I need to get into specific, more complicated subjects. We'll have diagrams in the slide decks and things like that, but anytime I can jump over and do a diagram, I typically will. There's more or less 3 different kinds of learning styles. There's people who learn through, just sound, auditory learners. They listen and they pick up information that way. There's practical learners who like to put things into practice and do them, hands-on folks. So we have labs in all of our courses, so that sort of facilitates that. But for our visual learners, it's really important to have that context switch and be able to go ahead and see things visually. So we like to make sure that we hit on all 3 because no one is purely one type of learner. You generally kind of go back, and forth between the different styles. So that's a quick tour of some of the different tools and technologies that we use to make sure that you get, the best training that we can give you. Pristine audio quality, the ability to go ahead and do things with, diagramming so that you can really get to the bottom of an idea, and hopefully some video quality that's pretty decent throughout the course. Now, I should say, one of the great things about Fastlane is they just pick really good instructors, and they don't enforce a single way of doing things on them. So this is my setup. I like to use this particular kind of microphone, and I like to be able to do lots of diagramming on the screen. Other instructors from Fastlane may have instead a camera and a whiteboard. So they may draw on an actual whiteboard. You might have other folks who use a tablet to go ahead and draw. So instead of on the screen, they have sort of separate tablet they draw and that shows up on the screen. There's a bunch of different ways to go do this. But the idea that I want to get across to you, if you're considering doing some classes with Fastlane or having us come in and do some training for you, is that we're going to put the resources in. We're going to make sure that we do everything that we need to go do to make sure that your training comes out great. And that's the idea. And that's whether we do this online, in person, or a hybrid class. So if I'm at a facility and I have some of my classes or some of my students attending remotely and some of them in person, I'm going to switch up the gear that I use to be a smaller little USB microphone that I can keep close to me, a little diagramming tablet that I can go ahead and use, and then we'll still have the projector and all that kind of stuff. So there's more than one way to do it. But if you go to Fastlane, we're going to put in the time, the money, the effort to make sure that you have the resources that you need to get a really good class out of it. So thank you for watching this. Hopefully we'll see you in a class at some point. I'm Nick Bernstein for Fastlane, and have a great day.